foodday.org.
It's very temperamental. You have to keep your oven closed while it's cooking. You have to have everything so that it rises properly, and sometimes they're overly complicated. They are the best cakes to make, especially if you're decorating them. So we're going to start, we're going to, wow, that's loud. We're going to beat the eggs for about 4 minutes. We're looking for them to be a lighter yellow to incorporate some more air into them to help the cake rise. This is way louder than my one at home. And once we get there, we're going to start adding the sugar. The more sugar we add, the lighter in color they're going to get, so that you're not going to wind up with a yellow cake when you're trying to make a white cake.
Are you going to give us a recipe?
What's that?
Are you going to
Yes,
share this recipe?
I'll get you the recipe. That's actually Justin's recipe, so.
Well, Justin shared his recipe. Thank you.
Okay, now, the recipes that call for unsalted butter.
Yes.
Okay, so give me the reasoning behind using unsalted and salted.
I always use unsalted butter when I'm cooking anything, because you can always add salt. You can't take it back out.
Well, as I said, usually with some of my students, you know the amount of salt you're going to put in.
Exactly.
For unsalted, salted butter, it's there.
Yeah, there's already salt in it. You can't take it back out. So I always, like, I don't even have salted butter at my house. I work at Wyoming Medical Center now. We have salted butter there, which is a little bit strange, but they also have margarine there. I don't use margarine to bake. I don't use margarine to cook. I call it fake butter. If I want butter, I'm going to use real butter. And I'm going to use unsalted butter because I can always add more salt to it. My mom thinks I'm crazy.
So are you working as a pastry person at the...
I am actually a nutrition coordinator at the hospital, so I'm kind of running things down there. But that's, I have dual degrees. I have a culinary arts degree from the Auguste Escoffier Culinary School in Boulder. And then I have a nutrition degree from Casper College. So we're going to go ahead and add, this is 2 cups of sugar that we're going to gradually add in here. But ideally, when I measure stuff to bake, I weigh everything, because especially when you get to like flour or powdered sugar or some of those other things, the difference in a cup can be 6 ounces a cup, 8 ounces a cup. I taught another different class and had one of the girls measure out a cup of flour and it weighed 16 ounces. Just because of how tightly she had it packed in her measuring cup.
That's one of the activities I do with my students.
Yeah.
Is we pack and we level and we have a keeping.
When you're baking, the only item that you should ever have packed is brown sugar.
So when do you have like, is there a measurement for how much a pound or a cup of flour should weigh?
A cup of flour typically weighs 6 ounces. If it's measured out rightly, it should weigh 6 ounces. A cup of sugar, however, is going to weigh 8 ounces.
Can you find this on the internet?
You can find it on the internet.
Okay.
And I'll let you know. It's one of those, it's going to take me a second to remember the website that I usually get them off of. But there's a ton of different conversion websites.
Yeah.
Most of them will give you the same conversions. A cup of flour is 6 ounces, is however many grams into kilograms.
It's really good on the web. The same cups in the measurement, grams.
Can you do, what I found is you do want to use a culinary measurements conversion on the web versus just measurement conversion, because
Yeah, definitely make sure you're putting in culinary I just gave my coach at the hospital. I used to work for Norwegian Cruise Lines, and we had cheater sheets that we had to have for part of our uniform, so I made copies of them and gave them to all of my cooks in the hospital, so they all have the conversions of this should be this.
But we had magazines given to us from, was it Johnson and Wales, it might have been Culinary.
I was gonna say, probably CIA or Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, I just got
No, those are the big ones. I'm actually gonna pull it off so you guys can.
Say that again?
I have magnets that were given to us. At some place I was, I think it was CIA Culinary Institute. And I just have one
This-
refrigerator.
Everybody see? Is what it looks like. See how light and
You can't see it.
I'm like I held it up so everybody in the back can see it. So it's
Almost white.
almost white before we start adding anything else into it. And right now it's just eggs and sugar.
And but, oh, you haven't added
The butter is not in there yet. It's just eggs and sugar right now.
So is he gonna copy this or?
You don't want this. This is Justin's chicken scratch recipes that I learned to read a long time ago. And this one actually has measurements in it. He usually just gives me an ingredient list and he's like, here, I want this and this and this in it. So with this, we're actually going to start adding our dry ingredients. It says to sift them together. I'm not a huge fan of sifters. Call me new school. I just use a whisk.
That's what we do. Yeah, it's put together.
Because all you're doing is making sure that they're kind of evenly distributed through it. Sifters are usually difficult to clean, so.
First thing you have one kid put them in water.
Washer and
Yep, the first time you use the water and you're done.
And the next kid puts the flour in and you have
chunks.
Or you have one put cocoa through it and then nobody else realizes it and then everybody has chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And they rust so quick.
So we're gonna add this. And so this is cake flour. When you're baking, especially cakes, you don't want to use all-purpose flour because all you're gonna wind up with is a really, really dense cake. If all you have is AP flour to use, if you do a cup of flour and a tablespoon
I
of,
take 2 tablespoons, I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch.
exactly. You take your cup of flour, you take 2 tablespoons of your flour out and replace it with cornstarch. It's gonna give you the lift that cake flour would. So you're not having to buy all these specialty flours.
Oh, they're hard to find.
Cake flour?
Yeah, up around this area, I went to every
Cake flour is very hard to find.
Right.
This is pretty much the only one you're gonna find in Casper.
Yeah, and that's hard to find.
You can find them at Walmart.
I looked and looked and
That's
looked.
any of the grocery stores. It's hard to find and it's seriously like $4 a box.
Yeah, it's $4 and we could not find it
And it's only, it's a 2-pound box. It's usually about $4.
Yeah, I looked everywhere.
You get cornstarch for 89 cents and you already have
I
flour.
don't have storage, I have all different kinds.
But so this is cake flour, baking powder, which works better in cakes because it's double acting. Which means it's going to start to rise now that we have it put in here with the eggs. And then when we put it in with the heat, it's going to rise even more. To make your cake, you know, fluffy, spongy.
Aren't most baking powders double acting though?
Not all.
Not all. Most, but not all.
What was the question? Aren't most baking powders
Most
double-
recipes
double
that
acting?
you
Oh, they're
see
not.
are going to call for double acting.
I only carry double acting.
All of those is good.
Everybody put in more than everybody.
I've got a book called
You can
Science
just find it at a grocery store.
So Amanda, you've done, so far you've done 4 eggs and 2 cups of sugar.
4 eggs, 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of cake flour,
much baking powder?
There is 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then there's also a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in it. And I added about half that. I'm notorious for dripping stuff down the front of me. But I have to go to the foundation fundraising gala later tonight, so I'm like, oh, I have to get stuff done. So I added about half the flour and scrape down the sides of the bowl. Make sure that they're getting scraped all the way through the bottom of the bowl, otherwise you're going to wind up with clumps of stuff at the bottom. And then they'll put their cake in their oven and be like, it didn't rise right. Well, it's because all your stuff's in the bottom of your bowl.
I have a pumpkin sponge cake recipe.
That is my mom's absolute favorite. I've already had to make it twice this year. It's not even her birthday yet.
You're a nice father.
She also babysits my kids for free.
We grandmas like to do that. I take my grandkids anytime.
It's a good trade-off.
Yeah, she claims it's a good trade. She gets to hang out with the grandkids, and then she gets cake. I usually make dinner when I go pick them up, so she's kind of enjoying the fact that I work a day shift instead of a night shift now.
So you guys must not be, like our hospital is Sodexo. You're not a corporate.
We are. I work at Wyoming Medical Center now. That is Sodexo.
Oh, you guys did go to Sodexo.
Yes. That's Greg, who hired me, used to be the nutrition director at the hospital, and now he is a representative of Sodexo.
Because Cheyenne Regional Medical Sodexo also.
Right. But Cheyenne Regional is Wyoming Medical